You know, I suppose rich families don't even think about this kind of thing, but ordinary type families go through their lives and they have special things that are important things, like to buy a turkey. Now, you know what I mean, Don. That's a big event. You know, they go and buy this big thing. They argue, they look at all the turkeys, and they discuss it, and they press the breastbone down, and they wiggle the legs, and to finally they decide on this 12-pound turkey, and that's a major event. And they bring it home, and for weeks afterwards, they talk about this turkey. It was a very good turkey, very special turkey. That was almost like the turkey we had, let's see, it was in 63, we had a turkey like that. That's a very good turkey. And but it wasn't quite as good as the turkey we had in 59. Do you remember that turkey? These are very big events. Now, there were three types of things that were big events: turkeys and chickens. That was about twice a year we'd have a turkey or a chicken, something like that. Thanksgiving, maybe. Christmas, maybe, something like that. Turkey, chicken. Another gigantic event was when we would get this big pork roast. A big pork roast. And it would last for about 10 days. Big pork roast. That was another big event. Because ordinarily, you know, we lived in the life of corned beef hash. Broadcast corned beef hash. That was our daily fare. Meatloaf, hamburgers, meatballs, spaghetti, that kind of stuff. That's ordinary food, you know. And the Wonder Bread on the table, the whole stick. That was about it. Once in a great while, there would be a big weekend shopping thing. We would go down to the A&P, and it would be my dad. I remember it would be usually like Friday night. He'd say, "I'll tell you what, let's do. What do you say? What do you say we all get together, we all go out to the A&P tomorrow, and what do you say we get a great big ham?" Well, that meant like half the old man's paycheck for that week. What do you say we get a ham? My mother would say, "Well, gee, I don't know. Can we afford it this month?" "Oh, come on. What the hell? You only live once. What do you say we get a ham, huh? And then we can have pea soup." And his eyes would get, you know, the ham. He could just see this ham. And so we would go to the A&P, and they'd have all these hams laid out there, you know, with the white paper on them, you know, the white with the... I've always had this feeling, the Swift, big red diamond on it, Swift, white smoked hams, and they would be hanging out back there. And the old man would go up and down, and he'd look at the hams, and he'd poke them. My mother would poke and look at it. And that night, we would go home with about 3 big bags of groceries, about 18 cans of Van Camp pork and beans, 74 cans of Campbell's tomato soup. This is our, you know, our food for the week. 4 loaves of Wonder Bread, a half dozen of extra small brown eggs, a 2-pound jar of El Cheapo peanut butter, a 2.5-pound thing of coffee, old battery acid coffee, grown in the mountains of East Chicago, and specially ground for the kind of pots we use, boiling water over and over again, reusable grounds, fig bars. Those were the cookies. We'd have a 2-pound bag of fig bars, and a big thing with the cellophane on the top of fig bars. You know, good solid. A 17-pound can of oatmeal, 2 boxes of cream of wheat. This is the kind of stuff. But the ham, H-A-M, the ham. And that ham was the center of one of the great disasters that happened to our family ever, absolutely ever. Now, when my mother got a ham, she would take this ham. She had a big blue pan, great big pan that she made turkeys in. And the first thing she would do, she would put the ham on the stove. I remember how she used to do it, because it was a great ritual in the family. She would take the ham out, and she would strip off this white paper that came in with all the little red string and everything, and she'd look at it, the old man would look at it, and then they would cut off that, it had sort of a skin on it, so it's this dark smoke skin. He'd cut that off, and there's the ham. And then she would put it on the stove, on top of the stove, in boiling water. She would boil this for about 2 hours, and the whole house, after about a half an hour, you could smell this smoked ham. Oh, wow, you know, it was fantastic, a smoked ham. I'm outside playing second base, and I could smell that smoked ham drifting. The whole neighborhood knew the Shepherds had ham this week, you know, big thing. And then she would take it off the oven, pour off the water, you see, and save the water, because out of that water, she would make some of the most magnificent pea soup that the taste of man has ever. I mean, it was like sheer magic. And she would save that water. You've had this. I'm sure you have done. She'd save the water, see. And then she would take the ham and put it into this big blue pan. And she would put on it brown sugar. And she would stick cloves all over it. And then she would take sliced Del Monte pineapple. She'd put the pineapple all over it with little maraschino cherries. And then she would sprinkle more brown sugar on it. She'd put a little molasses on it, and a little salt, and a little pepper. And then she would shove it into the oven, and instantly this brown sugar would melt all over it, and it would mingle with the ham juice. You'd smell this, and the pineapple would begin to cook away there. Well, she would cook this in the oven. She would roast it or bake it or whatever they call baked it. I guess that's called baking it, isn't it? She would bake this baby for hours. Just like that. On a Saturday night, she is preparing it for Sunday dinner. And she would bake it. And then she would leave it in the oven. She wouldn't take it out. She'd turn off the oven. It's now baked, see? And she had this thing. She always said, never eat a baked ham immediately after it's baked. Let it sit in the oven for 12 hours. Have you ever heard that? Before you cut it. Yeah, because then it's real solid. See? So then she turns off the oven. And boy, all night long, I'm in my bedroom and I could smell that ham. Oh, we're going to have ham. You know, the old man's going to be in a fantastic mood today. See, ham. You know. Oh, yeah, he'll play catch with us in the whole bit. See, ham. Oh, he loves us. You know, he'll talk to us instead of hitting my brother. You know. And, boy, I smell the ham. The old man is sleeping the sleep of the just, the sleep of a man who is about to enjoy a ham dinner on Sunday. You'd hear him in the next, in the next room. And sure enough, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, we're up, and the ham goes back in the oven to be heated very slowly under a very, very low flame. Very low. And by 2 o'clock that afternoon, we are out of our skull. Out of our bird with this ham. You could smell the ham in the drapes. You could smell it down in the basement mingled with the coal in the coal bin. You could smell that ham maybe 2 or 3 blocks away. And with the ham then, at the last minute, maybe the last half hour, my mother would stick sweet potatoes. She would stick them down there around the ham. You know, a little butter on them. And the sweet potatoes would bake in the ham. Kambala. You got it? Kambala, Yesu. Once again, the old basic man begins to crap out, and the ham would be heated. And then finally, and remember this is very important in the ham world, finally she would take the ham out. You don't eat the ham when it's, right out of the oven, ever. She would pull the ham out of the oven, and she would set it up there on the kitchen table. And whenever we had ham, we ate in the dining room, as opposed to eating in the kitchen, which is where we always ate. And she would take this ham and she would lay it down and put it on it. She'd take this like tinfoil wrap, and she had a big sheet of it, and she would put the ham right in the middle of the table, right in the middle of the kitchen table, and there the ham would sit with juice running off of it, and she would run that tinfoil up a little bit to catch it. See, and it's slowly cooling. Oh, what a magnificent picture. The ham right there. And then out in the next room, she'd put the tablecloth down, and she'd put all the best china out. We're going to have ham today. She'd have this big platter that we always use only for ham. And we had this thing that they had apparently gotten for their wedding gift. It was like the only family heirloom we had, called the carving set. And the carving set was in this long, sort of dark red cardboard box, kind of a fancy cardboard box, and it was lined with red felt. Those things with the kind of outline of this big fork and this big knife, and the old man would take this out, and for about 2 hours before the ham was to be served, he had this knife sharpener. He's going, he's sharpening the knife, the carving knife. And by the way, this carving knife was made out of elk horn. The elk horn, the antler horn with the brown, and on the end it had a big silver ring, and he's going, he's sharpening the knife. And then he takes it, holds it up to the light, and he takes this cloth. He goes, he cleans off the edge, and then he holds it up, and he goes, and then he takes a piece of paper, and he goes, cuts the paper off. What a cutter, what a toad sticker. A few extra licks, and then he puts it back in a box. And now it's out there on the dining room table, ready for action. The big carving knife, his big carving fork with the elk horn handle. And the old man now goes into the living room and sits down. You can just see him. His eyes are glowing with anticipation, with the primal lust of a man about to dig into a 15-pound ham that's going to last for a good 2 weeks. We're going to have ham gravy. We're going to have ham sandwiches. We're going to have pea soup. We're going to have, we're just going to have it all, you know, the whole bit. We're going to have ham, all kinds of ham. We're going to have ham hash. We're going to have, have you ever taken ham and chopped it all up and put it in mayonnaise with pickles? You know, we're going to have ham salad. It's ham, you know. Our world is going to be based on this ham for the next 2 weeks. And then we're going to have this gigantic ham bone, which my mother would throw into the pot and make it a soup, the whole bit. Ham, there it is, out on the table. The old man is in, and I remember I was there. I saw the whole thing happen. And I'm sorry, I was right on hand. He's in the living room. He is reading the Chicago Sunday Tribune. He is getting the latest word from Colonel Robert R. McCormick, one of the great thinkers of the era. He has already gotten the bad news about the White Sox, and now he's sitting there surrounded by the Chicago Tribune. And the ham is out in the kitchen, slowly cooling and filling the atmosphere with the most heavenly, most magnificent perfume that the nose of man has ever sniffed. I have been called in to wash because, you know, big Sunday dinner. And I'm in there washing, see. I am just coming out of the John. My mother is in the bedroom. She is taking her hair down. She is getting dressed. We're going to have Sunday dinner. You know, it's going to be a big thing. And my Aunt Glenn is coming over. And Uncle Tom. And Uncle Tom was my bootlegger uncle. And Uncle Tom always gave me $1. And it was a fantastic day. I was getting $1, the ham, the whole bit. See. My mother's getting dressed. My kid brother is under the daybed whining. He's just getting ready. I come out of the John, which was right off the kitchen. There was a little jogging hall. You came out, the bedrooms were up. You come into the kitchen. To the right is the living room and the dining room. And to your left is the kitchen. I just came out. I just cleared the wall of the kitchen when all of a sudden, the kitchen door goes boom, slams open. The door was open, just a little crack to allow cool air to come in there to cool the ham. Boom, the door slams open, and 4,922 blue-tick Bumpus Hounds come running in. They came in a great big mob, and the leading one that looked just like a gorilla, had big red teeth, had these great big yellow eyes, grabbed a hold of that ham, and out they went. Out they went. Pow! Out they went. Holy smokes! The old man jumped up. He said, "The ham! The ham! Those damn dogs! The ham!" And my mother practically passed out in the ledge. "Oh, the ham! The ham!" My kid brother stopped whining. I ran through the kitchen and out on the back porch, and there, out next to the garage, there were 422 dogs. The ham. That ham did not last 8.5 seconds with those ravening, insane Bumpus Hounds. Yapping and hollering. And old man Bumpus, Grandpa Bumpus, came out on the back porch to hear what all the yapping was about. He spits a great big gob of tobacco juice right in the middle of the pack, right on our ham. Boy. And he sees what's going on. They got our Sunday ham, and that old clown starts to laugh. He starts to laugh. When the old man sees that, the old man sees that. The old man sees that, and he's out on the back porch. He sees old Grandpa Bumpus laughing his gut out, Emil Bumpus comes out with a snoot full of white lightning. He takes one look at this thing, and he starts to laugh. The dogs are going, ow, 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 ow. They are going out of their skull. You know, they're made to kill. And all surrounding the whole thing, you could hear the sound. You could hear the sound of red seas in the sun. Oh, the old man flips. The old man blew his stack. He stands out on the back porch. I had never seen the old man do anything like this. He reaches down, and we had a whole long string of beer bottles on the back porch. He takes one of those beer bottles up. He throws that beer bottle up against the side of the Bumpus house, and it goes crash! Old Grandpa Bumpus stopped in mid-spit with a big gob hanging over his chin. Well, Emil Bumpus, he saw the beginning. This was back home for Emil. Emil had fought feuds all of his life. Emil was in his element. Emil turns around to make like he's going to get the shotgun. And the old man just stood there, white as a sheet, radiating. The most clear, beautiful anger I've ever seen in my... I'm cowering now. And even the dogs out there are quiet. You know, the bone is laying there. A couple of them are licking their chops. The old man turns and he walks back into the kitchen. He stands for a minute by the kitchen sink. And he looks over, and there is that great big sheet of Reynolds wrap filled with ham gravy. He looks at it. You could smell the ham. It was coming out of the stove. It was coming out of the drapes. It was coming out of the towels in the bathroom. You could smell ham everywhere. The old man looks at it. White. He says, "Them damn Bumpuses." All right. It's okay. All right. Get on your coats. We're going to the Chinese joint. Get on your coats. We're having chop suey. Get on your coats. We're going to have egg foo young. That, by the way, if any of you ever lived in a family like that, when you went out to the Chinese restaurant, have chop suey and egg foo young, this was a gala of the highest order. The old man was in effect saying, all right, take my ham, try to get my egg foo young. You barbarians. All right. Get dressed. We're going out. Get dressed. And 5 minutes later, we're in the Oldsmobile, not saying a word, driving down Cleveland Street, heading towards the Chinese joint, soy sauce, egg foo young, fried rice, and egg rolls. Well, from time to time, that ham was mentioned in the family, but only among lesser members of the family. It was never mentioned around the old man. And from that time on, the old man waged a continuous guerrilla war against the Bumpus family. You know how he did it? Bottle caps in the driveway so that the Bumpus Buick would find interesting things happening to its tires. He was, the list of calumny goes on and on and on. And then one benighted, blessed, unbelievably great day, the Bumpus family moved right out, lock, stock, and barrel in the middle of the night, and left 6 months of unpaid rent. And that was one of the few days that I ever heard the old man sing out loud while he shaved.